My sister accused my husband of getting her pregnant at our anniversary party. But her in-laws appeared with shocking proof of who the real father was, then things got even darker. Should I have seen it coming? I never expected the day would come when I'd have to share my story, but if so many others have done it, there's no reason why I shouldn't, particularly because I know my story with my sister is the kind that people on this subreddit enjoy. To begin, I should say that I'm a 32-year-old woman, happily married to my husband, Ayer, 34, for 5 years. We have a pretty good life that came dangerously close to crumbling when my younger sister, Dory, 29, decided she had nothing better to do than destroy our lives. Dory and I have always had this rivalry, though it wasn't that I sought one with her, but rather she sought one with me. Our parents treated us equally, but it seemed Dory always wanted more. More attention, more praise, and later on, more material things. My parents fulfilled all her whims. They fulfilled mine too, but I usually didn't ask for much as a child. This created more of a difference between us because while I thought I should work hard to get things, she received an upbringing that prepared her to be spoiled. 3 years ago, Dory married Tom, a man who I don't understand how he ended up with Dory, but he did. I had hoped marriage would help her mature, but instead, it only highlighted how dependent she had become on financial support from others, specifically Tom's parents. I had heard through family that Dory and Tom's marriage was far from perfect. Tom's family didn't have the best opinion of her, but that's because she didn't help with practically anything. She hadn't worked since she married Tom and didn't do anything around the house, so her in-laws thought she was a parasite. Still, Dory had been receiving a monthly allowance from Tom's parents. Don't ask me why. She often complained to me about how controlling they were because, in exchange for that, they wanted her to look for a job or do something around the house, so maybe that was the reason. Let's fast forward to this year. Ayer and I wanted to do something for our 5th wedding anniversary. We decided to organize a big celebration. There would be a vow renewal ceremony, and our closest family and friends were invited. But something made me start to feel a growing uneasiness about Dory. She had been acting erratically, making strange comments about Ayer, and asking unusual questions about our relationship. Dory has always been Dory, but this time seemed different. A week before the party, I received a call from Tom asking to meet, saying he had something important to tell me. It wasn't going to be anything good, judging by his tone. When we sat down for coffee, Tom got straight to the point. He explained that he had overheard Dory talking on the phone with a friend, casually boasting about a plan she had been working on. According to Tom, Dory had been sowing doubts, making subtle comments about my marriage with Ayer. Her plan was to cause trouble at our anniversary party, hoping to create chaos, humiliate me, and cause a rift between Ayer and me. Tom was clearly conflicted, but he didn't want to see her succeed with her plan. Leaving that meeting, I was furious, but I started thinking of ways to prevent Dory from getting away with it. And if I could, I was going to give her a taste of her own medicine. I told Ayer about it, and his reaction was exactly what I needed. He was horrified, just like me, and we both agreed that confronting Dory directly wouldn't work because if it wasn't at the party, she would try to attack me at some other time. We had to be strategic and do something to make her leave us alone forever. That's when I made the decision to call Tom's parents. But instead of telling them about her plan for the party, I shared something else. Something I had recently discovered myself. According to the conversation with Dory's in-laws, the money was to help with household things, food shopping, repairs, and some expenses, not for luxuries. When I told Tom's parents about the expenses, they were more than angry. They had thought they were helping their son and his family, but it was clear that wasn't the case. They agreed to attend the anniversary party but decided to keep their presence a secret. If Dory wanted to make a scene, they would be ready. The day of the party arrived and I knew Dory was planning to make her move, but she had no idea I was ready to counter it. I kept an eye on Dory all night. She seemed to be waiting for her moment, waiting for the perfect instant to drop her bomb. That moment came when Ayer and I prepared to renew our vows. We were standing in front of the room when Dory stood up and began to speak. She announced that she was pregnant and that Ayer was the father. What creativity from my sister, trying to ruin things by saying she had been with my husband. Some guests looked at Ayer and me in confusion, waiting to see how we would respond. But we weren't surprised or nervous. We already knew everything. I just went to the guest room where her in-laws had been waiting for half an hour and called them in. They also wanted to give this little surprise to Dory and had no problem waiting. If the guests were already confused by this, with the presence of Dory's in-laws, whom some already knew, and if they didn't, now that I introduced them, they did. But what they said left even me surprised because I wasn't expecting them to have an extra surprise. A trusted friend in their social circle had started to notice that Dory frequently met with another man, someone they all knew. This wasn't an innocent friendship. Dory had been seen with him several times in very private and intimate situations. Tom's father paused for a moment, clearly reluctant to continue, but determined to reveal the truth. He said that the man with whom Dory had been seeing wasn't heir, as she had planned to claim in front of everyone. The baby she was expecting wasn't heirs either. The father of her child was this other man with whom she had been secretly involved for months, and they had recently discovered this. I thought Dory was going to faint because the whiteness of her face didn't seem normal for a person. I think she didn't expect someone to confront her this way and in front of everyone. Tom's parents didn't stop there. They announced bluntly that they would cut Dory off financially. No more allowance, no more support from their family. They also said that if Tom wanted to stay married to her, it was his decision, but for them, Dory was cut off from the family. Dory left the party because there wasn't much she could do with everything that had happened. Even if someone looked at her as she left, she insulted them. We decided to go ahead with our vow renewal because that's what we were there for, and this was just a pause. It even felt better in a way. Now let me tell you what happened in the days after the party because this is far from over. Dory tried to control the damage by contacting people to tell her version of the story, but it was a bit late for that. Tom, who didn't say much that night because he didn't expect everything to escalate so quickly, wants to file for divorce immediately. A paternity test still needs to be done because no one really knows whose child it is, but Dory's in-laws thought it would be a harder blow if they said it was the other man's. Plus, the odds are now in their favor. I had never done anything like this before, but it feels really good to have given Dory a taste of her own medicine. Maybe if she hadn't tried it at the party, her in-laws probably would have let it pass and revealed everything at another time, in a more private place. From what I know, they were even finishing gathering more evidence to present to their son, as they didn't want their son to turn against them if the evidence wasn't enough to believe them. Yes, it might not have been the best time to do it, but at the same time, it feels so satisfying that Dory received all this. No one told me it was going to be this good. The only thing I feel bad about is for Tom because no one but his parents knew all this until the revelation, but it has been a surprise for everyone. Update 1. It's been about 48 crazy hours since I made my last post. Everything has been dramatic and intense, according to what has happened. The most significant update is that Tom, the now separated husband of my sister Dory, has officially filed for divorce. He called me recently, but to my surprise, he sounded better than he should have. He shared that he had suspected Dory's infidelity for some time, so he wasn't surprised by anything. The evidence his parents gave him after the party only confirmed what he already knew. That's why he had decided to tell me everything, as they had been fighting for some time. They had even had an argument shortly before she started with her plan to ruin my party. And according to what he has talked about with Dory after everything blew up, she simply wanted to hurt him while ruining my life in the process. Tom's parents, who are as surprised as the rest of us, are supporting him completely. In fact, they've already connected him with one of the best divorce lawyers they could find to ensure that Dory gets as little as possible in the divorce. Meanwhile, Dory is trying to fix what little dignity she has left. Her version of events has changed so many times that they seem like alternate endings to a movie. First, she claimed she was joking when she made the announcement at the party, and that her in-laws just made everything up because they've always hated her. Then she started saying she was coerced into making the announcement, although she never really explained by whom. Finally, she played the safe conspiracy card. But if even my parents have removed the blindfold regarding her, then she's doing nothing but failing in her attempts. My mother called me yesterday in what seemed like an intense crying session. They couldn't believe their daughter would behave like this, nor that they had raised her so poorly to do everything she did. At least we had our first genuine and open conversation about the dynamics in our family. Some good things are coming out of all this. Not everything is chaos and drama. Well, maybe my sister can't find much positive in the matter. Tom's parents, who have been nothing but kind throughout this mess, sent Ayer and me a beautiful floral arrangement with a note that almost made me cry. In it, they apologized for making Dory's issue bigger, and also apologized because their financial support had contributed to Dory's behavior. I called them to tell them that I wasn't bothered by what they did and that Dory deserved every word. They even offered to help us with any costs of the party for ruining it, but we haven't accepted. Still, Ayer and I think that maybe this won't be the last thing Dory does. Her behavior is unpredictable, so we don't know what she might be preparing now. Maybe we won't be her target, but we've decided to consult a lawyer. Whatever she might try, we should have everything ready to show her who she can't mess with. I still think this story is far from over, so I promise more updates as events unfold. Update 2. I wanted to talk to you about the latest news about Dory and the rest of the people involved in my story, and this is far from over because Dory is even more upset now. First, the most important news. Dory has checked herself into a mental health center. This surprised all of us, especially given how insistently she was trying to defend her actions just a few days ago. Tom was the one who informed me and believes the collapse came after she realized how she ruined her life in a few seconds. She lost her marriage, her financial support, and the respect of our family. Dory suffered what appeared to be a nervous breakdown, although I don't think it was a few seconds. Her infidelity has been going on longer, and her dislike for me even longer. According to Tom, who is still in contact with her for legal reasons, she was admitted voluntarily and is currently receiving treatment. I don't know why, but I have my doubts about all this. It seems like a plan to come across as the victim, something to try to fix what little honor she has left. If she really has suffered this nervous breakdown and needs help, good for her, I guess. But if it's just a tactic to seek forgiveness, I hope she still suffers more consequences. The facility where she is has a solid reputation in treating complex cases, and they will have to do a complete evaluation to know if she's really going through something, or if it's an act. On the legal front, things are moving quickly. Tom's lawyer is pushing to obtain full custody of their 2-year-old son James, who has undergone a paternity test and returned with good results. Given Dory's mental condition and her recent erratic behavior, it seems to be the best option. Tom's main concern is James' well-being, and he's devastated by the idea that his son is caught in this mess. As for the child she's carrying, we still have to wait until it's born to make a decision. From what Tom has shared, his lawyer has already presented enough to demonstrate why Dory is not currently in a condition to have primary custody. Ayer and I have also been dragged into the legal proceedings. We've been called to provide statements in Tom's divorce case. Although neither of us wants to be more involved in this legal mess than we already are, we also want to help Tom with everything that has happened. As expected, the domino effects of Dory's actions continue to hit our family hard. My parents, in particular, are struggling to deal with the situation. My dad has thrown himself into work, barely saying a word about what's happening. When I try to talk to him, he simply avoids it. My mom, on the other hand, is completely overwhelmed emotionally. She's devastated by everything that has happened in these weeks. On a more positive note, Ayer and I have started discussing the possibility of starting a family, something we had always talked about vaguely, but are now considering more seriously. I don't know why at this moment, but something good has come out of all this disaster. If my sister wanted to separate us, she has achieved the opposite effect. We're still in the early stages of conversation, but I don't know what Dory might do if she finds out. Probably have another nervous breakdown. One of the most unexpected outcomes of this whole situation has been reconnecting with my cousin Emma. We were very close as children, but over the years we drifted apart mainly because of Dory. No one wanted to be around her, so over time, we grew apart. After finding out about everything, Emma reached out to me and we've been talking more and more. I still expect there to be more to tell, so I don't consider my story finished yet. I don't think this will be completely resolved in the short term or even in the medium term. Update 3. The last week has brought more news. It's as if you're always waiting for something, like this is never going to end. Here's the latest on what's happening with Dory and our family. Dory was discharged from the mental health center to continue with outpatient care, but unfortunately, her behavior hasn't stabilized as we had hoped. A few nights ago, she showed up at our parents' house demanding to see me. When they told her I wasn't there, she lost it, accusing them of betraying her and taking sides. At least we know she's mentally unbalanced because she knows I don't live there, but she was completely beside herself. So my father had to tell her that she should leave or he would call the police because she still wasn't mentally well. She left quickly. The next morning, I woke up to text messages from Dory that ranged from apologies to accusations that all of this was my fault. Also from my father, who warned me about what had happened the night before. I don't know if she's faking it or not because she seems crazier all the time. With our lawyer, we made the decision to file for a temporary restraining order against Dory. I don't want to find out personally if she's really crazy or just putting on an act to make people feel sorry for her, although I don't think it's working either. The legal system moves slowly, but I'm still waiting for the restraining order. When it's finally granted, the divorce between Dory and Tom has become complicated for Tom. It seemed like a relatively simple case, but now it's a total battle. Dory is now contesting the custody agreement, making all kinds of extravagant accusations against Tom. She argues that she is recovering and that her collapse is due to everything he has done to her in these last weeks and in their marriage, that it's all a plan to keep her son and not have to pay child support or give her half of his assets. Yes, she is demanding a large part of Tom's family's wealth, claiming she deserves compensation for emotional damages. Tom's lawyer is confident these accusations won't hold up, but she's willing to make his life impossible rather than lose. I don't want to imagine Tom's son falling into her care if they really give her full or partial custody. She has never been particularly a good mother to him, but with all this, it's clear she isn't. The most important thing now is the legal battle because at least Dory has stopped bothering us, and the extended family and friends are completely against her. Many have seen the family dynamic with Tom and know that Tom is a better father than she is a mother, so everything now focuses on what the judge believes. There are still many things up in the air, particularly with respect to Dory's pregnancy. Tom's parents have made it clear that they intend to continue helping Tom get custody if the child is his. They are deeply concerned about Dory's ability to care for a newborn, especially given her erratic behavior and the ongoing legal battles. This will probably lead to another round of legal drama, but with Dory, nothing will be easy. Once you let a demon like her into your house, it's not like you can throw her out so easily. Of course, Tom has evicted her from the house, which is his parents' property, but I mean figuratively getting her out of their lives. Mixing emotional instability and a baby is not a good combination, and I think at least in that, she's being sincere. She's always been emotionally unstable. What she's faking is that now it's all her collapse to try to gain something from all this. Update 4. I could be reaching the final closure of my story. I still don't think so, but I feel we're approaching at high speed because some situations are starting to be resolved while others are emerging. My nephew has already been born, but he's not Tom's son. We haven't met him for several reasons. My parents haven't seen him because Dory hasn't allowed them to. She says that by taking my side, they don't have rights as grandparents to see him. I think that was a stupid move because she could count on someone to help her with her baby if she just allowed them to see him, but no. As for me, I haven't wanted to meet him, although I don't think I'd be allowed to either. I'm guessing Dory's response to my parents extends to me as well. So Tom has avoided a new legal battle for custody and has used the pregnancy as ammunition in the divorce process. The legal processes are still very much alive, and it seems they won't end soon because Dory is doing the impossible to delay things and drag Tom along. I don't think she has any chance of winning anything she's asked for, neither custody nor money. But there's still a long way to go. The only thing that has ended for now is the divorce. Tom has avoided paying spousal support thanks to Dory's proven infidelity. However, Dory's lawsuit for damages against Tom, as well as the issues of custody and child support, are still open fronts. Additionally, Dory has requested child support for her new baby. It's not that I think she can win that, but as I said, she wants to prolong this to make Tom's life miserable, as if she hadn't done enough already. Ayer and I, for those who asked, are doing very well. This will be a total scoop because I haven't told the whole family yet, and only a few friends know, but I'm pregnant, not very far along. We can say that Ayer and I haven't wasted these months. I don't think Dory knows yet, as we haven't heard from her, and the people who know have been instructed not to tell for now, but at some point, the news will come to light. We also needed the restraining order, which is now a legal tool we have, so she might soon find out when we talk about it with everyone else. It's not like we can keep it a secret much longer. Update 5. I was right that this story would be long. We're on the 4th or 5th update, and it doesn't seem like it will end soon. Dory discovered that I'm pregnant and has broken the restraining order to write me a long email full of insults and hatred. Yes, the order also included any type of contact. Now that email is in the hands of my lawyer and Tom's lawyer, but I want to share some passages from the email with you, at least the most interesting ones. For example, in one part she says, You've sought to ruin my life, and now you want to have a child just to compete with me. You're a person who stoops very low to have a rivalry with me when you know you can never be at my level, not even if you try for 1,000,000 years. Then she continues with more personal attacks. If I had wanted to have Ayer for myself, I would have gotten him. All men seem to have an eye for me, and Ayer wouldn't have been different. That you didn't notice doesn't mean he wouldn't have been with me if I had allowed it. In another part, she attacked my baby. You're the worst sister anyone could ask for. You're the female version of Cain. You're a very sick woman, so your baby probably won't be born because you're rotten inside. And then she ended her email with a threat. If it doesn't happen because you've been lucky, I'll make sure things follow their natural course. That, at least to me, has sounded like a direct threat that she might harm me or my baby. She's completely out of her mind. And my lawyer has used that, along with the violation of the restraining order, to file a formal complaint. This is not going to help her case against Tom at all, and I hope justice acts against her. I don't want her to just be in a psychiatric institution. She needs to spend time in jail. Update 6. I never imagined when the day would finally come that I could say everything has reached its end and that this would be my last update, but that day has arrived. My sister is no longer with us, but I need to give you context to explain everything. During her internment, she was prescribed strong medications to treat her apparent or real mental health problems. Yes, I still have my suspicions, but will never be able to confirm them. She continued to take that medication when she was discharged, and apparently, she also combined it in large quantities with alcohol. At least that's what the toxicology report revealed at the time of her death. But paradoxically, she didn't die from mixing pills with alcohol. She had an accident. We don't know what she was doing in that place, but near a city park, there's a drop of several meters, between 15 and 20 maybe. It wouldn't be much if you managed to fall well, but in her state, the hypothesis is that she might have lost her balance and hit herself in the worst way during her fall, breaking her neck. So that's the end for my sister and for my story, an end that she herself built from the foundations. She sought to ruin my life, as she probably ruined her own, but karma was on my side that day. The pills and alcohol were also her decision, as was the idea of getting herself committed to try to use that against Tom. I still think it was all an act. Those bad decisions, along with infidelity, have brought us to this point. I can't say it's a happy ending because we're talking about a person who has died, and we've all been through a lot because of her. But sometimes I think there would be no other end for my sister than that. Either she would end up in jail, in a mental health center, or she herself would end up causing her death. With her passing, all of Tom's legal problems have disappeared, although at this point, they seem to be resolving in his favor. He has obtained full custody of his son and hasn't had to pay anything. My sister's child, my nephew, has been given into custody to my parents, but the biological father has said he will take care of him. I've already spoken with my parents, and they've reached an agreement for them to be able to see him and be present in his life. My daughter has also been born, and despite my sister's wishes, she has come into the world healthy and strong. Her death has not only brought peace to everyone, but also to me because her latest threats didn't leave me at ease. Now I know there's no way for her to carry them out. That's it. I haven't left anything out, so I say goodbye to you, with whom I've shared a lot during these months that my story lasted.